Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's program, Everyone to the Table, the Science Behind Family Mealtimes. Hi, my name is Lori Wuellner, Health and Food Safety Agent for K-State Research and Extension in Wyandotte County. Now, I've adapted today's program slightly, but I just want to point out the primary authors, Sandy Proctor and Bradford Wiles, both Extension specialists with K-State Research and Extension. And this is just a reminder that K-State Research and Extension programming is available to all people. Also, you'll just want to turn your volume up on your computer so you can appropriately hear. Now, this is the lesson that I will be using most of today's content for. So if you want to go a little bit deeper into some of those concepts, you'll just want to link into it, and the link is at the bottom of the screen here. I will be covering a lot of information today, but in short, I will address the connection between nutrition and mealtime, and also how to make mealtime a positive experience. Studies show that kids and parents alike think that family meals are important and enjoyable. And there are many benefits to these, and I'll talk about these in the next couple of slides. But the goal is to aim for at least 4 family meals together during the week. Now, I know that we all could have a running list of what those challenges look like, but we also know that the rewards far outweigh those challenges. So the question is, do family meals make a difference? Simply put, it is a way to build healthy relationships and promote good health. So yes, it does make a difference. Coming together as a family to share a meal has many benefits. And I've just narrowed it down to 4, and these come from Purdue Extension. The first one is connection. We thrive on human connection. Eating meals together provides a great opportunity to connect with family and with friends. Children and even those teenagers thrive on having a mealtime routine that they can count on. So to make the most of our time together, turn off the TV, put the cell phones away, and try to avoid as many distractions as possible. Gather at a table or somewhere that you can focus on one another and be intentional. The second point is emotional well-being. Families who eat together have children who are less likely to be depressed and less likely to engage in high-risk behaviors, such as drugs and smoking and alcohol intake. Family meals are also associated with reduced risks for eating disorders. The third point is academic success. At mealtime, children practice important social skills, such as taking turns with conversation and listening too. Children can increase their vocabulary and learn how to express those ideas over a family meal together. And these benefits then explain why children who do eat family meals together on a regular basis are found to do better in school. And the last point, and probably no surprise to any of us, are healthier eating habits and weight. Meals planned and prepared for family are generally more nutritious than meals eaten alone or on the run. Family meals also provide a great opportunity for parents to model good eating habits and positive attitudes towards food. Family meals are associated with healthier weights in children and adults, so it is a win-win situation. So how can you be successful with family mealtime? First, make family meals a priority. Think about it. We make time for what is important to us. Prioritize family meals over other activities as often as you possibly can, and I know it is difficult. Schedule them on the family calendar so that everybody is in the know. Eating is an essential activity. Do it together rather than apart. Next, plan for them. Plan for the family meals. Look at your schedule and determine the days and times that eating together is possible. Decide what you will prepare and make sure that you have what you need on hand so that it's not a kind of a last minute rush. A weekly meal plan will help, again, those last minute worries about what to cook. The third point is shared preparation task. Try to get everyone involved with meal planning or finding the recipes, grocery shopping, even depending upon the age, cooking, certainly setting the table, and of course, the obvious cleanup. Young children can do a variety of tasks, and sometimes it just takes a little bit more time on behalf of the parent, but it's worth it. And older kids can plan and even help prepare those meals. Parents can get valuable help, and kids learn those lifelong skills. And lastly, make mealtime enjoyable. Create an atmosphere where everyone feels relaxed and valued. Avoid battles over food, in that the parents provide and the children decide what and how much. And this is really the concept behind Ellyn Satter's The Division of Responsibility, which I'll talk a little bit more in detail. So I think a good question is to ask yourself, what were your childhood experiences, good and maybe not so good, based on your family mealtime, the food and eating? Did you have laughs? Were your memories good over family mealtime? Or did meals create tension and stress? Were they quiet? Were they loud? What were your traditions that you still practice today and you literally bring to the table? Now, I will share with you that most of mine were good memories. However, when my mom worked evenings, my dad became the cook. And that is an entirely different story. Now, not that they were bad memories, and they were actually ones that we look back on now and kind of chuckle, but he was not a cook by any stretch. Our tomato soup, which we had often, was doused with hot sauce. And to him, that was just normal. But for a young child's taste bud, that was not very well received. And his attempt, and this was a one-time attempt at making gravy, it became the consistency of something like paste. And we had battles that ensued over that clean plate syndrome. And you know what I mean by that, where you're having to stare down at the plate, being forced to eat something. And I always tell parents, working with parents on feeding children, that think about you as an adult, that nobody is forcing you to eat your food if your stomach is not prepared for it, or whatever the case may be. And again, we'll get into this with the Ellyn Satter division. So when my husband and I started having children, we maintained some of those family traditions on both sides. But there were also some that we did tweak a little bit or left out entirely. The next few slides will be, I'll be addressing that Ellyn Satter's division of responsibility. Her model and perspective on feeding a family provides useful division of responsibility for those different ages of the kiddos. Even infants have a natural ability with eating. They eat as much as is needed for them, for their bodies, and they grow in a way that is right for them. And they learn to eat the foods that their parents eat. So this is a snapshot of what I'll be discussing in further detail. The parent's role is the what, when, and where, and the child's role is how much, and even whether or not they will eat. Let's take again a little closer look at these. The adult's feeding responsibility include choosing what is fed and preparing the food, making sure that they are providing regular meals and nutritious as well, meals and snacks, making those eating times experiences pleasant, modeling how to behave during the family mealtime, being considerate of children's lack of food experiences without surrendering to their preferences. In that basically means no short order cooking. Avoid allowing children to have food and beverages except for water between meals and snacks, and letting the children grow up with the bodies that are healthy and appropriate for their unique needs. In contrast, the children's eating responsibilities include knowing that they will eventually eat, that they will eat the amount and what they need appropriate for their bodies. They will learn to eat the foods that their parents eat. They will grow in ways that are predictable, and they will learn to behave appropriately at mealtime. So, what does this look like in a mealtime setting? By honoring the child's responsibility to eat what and how much of the food provided, the parent allows the child to refuse an item or to eat more of another item or to even stop when their instincts say to stop. If parents avoid trying to control a child's eating, the child will learn from their mistakes and adjust for those mistakes later. Be assured, and this is really important to tuck away, be assured that a competent eater is developing and positive parenting paves the way. Now, I know there's a lot going on here with this slide, and I want you to just for a little while put your teacher hat on. And we know as parents, we are teachers. And this really is in reference to choosing a particular teaching strategy to fit a situation. So it's important to keep in mind what children already know and what they bring to the table, so to speak, and what they can do with that information. And what are those goals for a specific situation that you want them to learn? By remaining flexible and observant, we can determine which strategy is most effective. And often, if one doesn't work for whatever reason or the child itself, then another one will work. To understand this better, the National Association for the Development of Young Children has created 10 developmentally appropriate practice strategies, and they're shown here, and they include acknowledge, encourage, feedback, modeling, demonstrate, create or challenge, asking questions, assistance, information, and lastly, directions. Now, what the point of all of this here is that you can take this model into family mealtime and way beyond into many, many situations. If you want to go a little bit more deeper into these specific strategies, just look into this link that's on the screen here. All right. Let's take a look at some effective mealtime tools. And I've really narrowed it down to two. But there's a lot of content within these two. Let's start with scheduling. An important question to consider is, when will my family be available to share a meal? Don't just limit your family mealtime to the evening meal only. Does the morning meal work best? And in our situation, as our boys got older, that was the meal that we often had together. And again, that mealtime can be on different days of the week. So they don't always have to be, evening meal throughout the week. You can change it up. When scheduling, the most important part, though, is try to be as flexible and intentional as possible. The second point here is conversation. From a developmental point of view, conversations are the mental nutrients to go along with those physical nutrients. And I love that, the mental and the physical nutrients. Positive conversations with family set the tone for conversations outside of the family with friends and others. The family is where members learn and practice behavior and vocabulary and those values and beliefs and customs and rituals and on and on. Family mealtime reinforce these through conversations. So it's important to keep in mind too that these conversations don't always happen organically. Adults can be most effective with children of all ages by being intentional and scaffolding the conversation. And those 2 points are mentioned here. And I'll talk a little bit more about scaffolding on the next slide. The other point is that mindfulness, which simply means, and we know it's being in the moment, it's being present during our time together as a family, and especially during those meals. Ahead of time, think about what you want to achieve during mealtime. Now, this may seem a little awkward, and you might even think, I just want to make it through. But knowing how important this time together is, the idea of initiating a conversation will help. You'll rest assured you will make it through the meal, but you'll also be engaged in building those family strengths. So scaffolding is a process to help people learn. The term is based on a construction scaffold, which is used here, that's shown here before the building is solid. And in this case, we're talking about knowledge. So once the building is solid, the scaffolding is no longer needed and can be used elsewhere. While there are many ways to scaffold your conversations, some helpful strategies to consider for shared meal times include the 6 points that are highlighted on this slide. And I'll touch briefly on each one, but you'll want to check out that publication I mentioned in the beginning for more details on these specific 6. So the first one, let's start with the first one, asking questions. Open-ended questions are the best way to get beyond a yes or no answer. And we know what that looks like. So being intentional about how you ask those questions. Secondly, providing information. Another way to build conversation is to provide new information. The next point is modeling, and this is probably the most important aspect of scaffolding. During meal times, parents model that family mealtime is important and that eating is something that we do together. Next, providing feedback. By just simply using the word because, that will get that give and take feedback that we're looking for. The next point is maintaining focus. Now, this can be especially difficult for families with adolescents and with young children because sometimes attention is hard to maintain. Most importantly, everyone should avoid using a screen at the meal, and this includes TV. So as I mentioned earlier, we come to the table with that understanding that cell phones are put away and this will be our time together. So it is just not the place for those screens. And lastly, setting the stage. This is an opportunity to help everybody know what to expect. And by providing that structure and setting that stage for everybody, then again, you can share that time together with an understanding of how things will go. All right, here's some additional resources, plus that link to the Ellyn Satter Institute, and the other one that I mentioned earlier from Purdue Extension. I just want to thank you for tuning in to today's program, The Science of Family Mealtime. I hope you have gained some new insights or just simply have been reminded of the importance of time together over a meal. For more information on nutrition, food safety, and health, please contact me by phone or email. Again, thank you and have a great day.